What if, instead of spawning in a nice forest or on a mountain, you spawned on one block? Here are days 1 to 5 of my playthrough of One Block Minecraft. On the first day of the playthrough, I spawned on one block and in the middle of the air. There was nothing else around me, and so I proceeded to mine the block because it would infinitely regenerate. I started mining out grass, then quickly got to a plank. After mining that plank 2 times, I found a chest. It contained an apple and a sapling. After that, I planted the sapling down and quickly continued mining, gaining resources until I found a good place to start making my island bigger. Once I had broken the block somewhat, my first pig spawned. I made my island bigger so that the pig could actually fit in and wouldn't bother me as much, but it just walked right back and kept staring at me. After expanding a little, I got another chest, and then I realized that the gravel blocks were falling down, and I figured I should at least put a block below the infinite block, so I did. And then I put my water source down on the other side, just in case I fell. I then got an upgrade, which was the plains, the first stage. I was officially out of the tutorial. I expected this to have lots of grass and oak wood, maybe some, birch. It also came with some melons, I guess, for some first food sources, but it wasn't very exciting. I then got my second pig. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with them. I mean, I could breed them, but they're not really that helpful. But I figured I would keep them until later. So, after that, I started to make my first farm, which only held 2 wheat, but it was a start. I continued expanding my island, placing down more of my saplings and more dirt. At this point, I had 2 of each animal, and I just kind of let them roam around, even though they were kind of annoying. At this point, the second day was approaching fast, but the progress I had made in the first day looked pretty good, and I was happy where I was in this first day. On day 2, I realized that where my farm was at right now was not in a very good position, and I needed to change that. So I moved my water source over, made it a bit longer, and then proceeded to plant down my potatoes and wheat that I had gotten from some chests, as well as a berry bush, just because I could. After that, because I had gotten some more seeds, I realized that I could lure the chickens over into a little pen. I couldn't lure any of the other animals because I didn't have the plants or crops that they liked. But I could do the chickens, and they were annoying where they were, so I moved them over to a pen and had them all ready until I wanted to breed them. After that, I harvested one of the trees that had grown, and I then expanded my island a little bit more for a future project that would last several days into this playthrough. I also got an upgrade into the second stage, which was the underground stage, and it introduced stone, so I could finally get some stone tools and start breaking the infinite block a lot faster. After that, I got my first mushroom cow, which was great because that would allow me to have a basically infinite food source. So I quickly made him a little pen out of one of the trees that had grown and pushed him over until he got in it. After this, I realized I needed a more permanent place for my chests, furnaces, crafting tables, and they needed to not be so close to the infinite block, so I started making a little home for myself and for where my chests, furnaces, crafting tables, all that stuff could go. And I built that for a little while until I was satisfied that it would serve its purpose. I also added torches around my island just so that I could make sure that monsters would not spawn naturally around my island. After adding a door and putting away all my resources into my little home, I was satisfied with it, so I continued mining. Suddenly, a zombie spawned right in front of me off of the infinite block and started attacking me. I quickly dispatched it, but it was my first monster that had spawned, and it gave me a bit of a surprise. I also started adding a little platform where eventually I would place all the animals, or at least get them in there somehow, so that they wouldn't be all over the island annoyingly. After that, two more zombies spawned. I dispatched them again, but they were definitely starting to get worrisome without a good weapon or any armor. A little bit later, day 2 was just about finishing up, and the island was starting to look a lot better, a lot more like a place that I could actually live and expand. As day 3 started, the island was looking pretty good. I had a pen for animals, a little farm, a little house, and some trees growing, and I had an infinite block. Life was looking up. I worked on the house a little bit, adding some walls to the sides so that I could feel more enclosed and secure, even though this house probably wouldn't last me beyond 10, 15 days. And surprisingly, a lot of the animals had already moved over into the pen without me having to actually do anything. They had just walked up onto a block and then fell into the pen, which was very nice. Some spiders spawned, but they didn't seem to want to attack me, so I just killed them easily and then used their string to make a bow. At this point, a creeper spawned, which surprised me, and I really didn't want it to blow up. Thankfully, it didn't, and I was able to kill it, but it was a near disaster. After that, I made a shield just in case. I changed the front of my house just a little bit because I liked it a little bit more than how it had been before, but nothing major. I mined for most of the day, monsters spawning off and on, but nothing really happened. Nothing happened, that is, until the second creeper spawned when I was in a not very good position, and in my haste to get away from it, I simply fell off the island. I respawned with the recovery kit, but I lost one of my shields, which had cost me 1 iron, and at this moment, not having that much was a bit of a blow, but still not a major setback as the creeper simply despawned and didn't actually blow anything up. At this point, I put down some more blocks around some of the edges of my island to make sure that this wouldn't happen again. As day 3 started to end, I got another upgrade, which was great because that meant on day 4, I could start off anew with the third area, which happens to be an icy winterscape, as well as a wandering trader spawned right at the end of the day. Here are the trades for the wandering trader. He didn't really have anything useful except for the gunpowder, and that cost 1 emerald, and that was about it. Then came day 4. I continued mining in the snowy tundra biome, which the block was at, because I figured the next phase should have more useful things than this one would. I also marked off the block with some snow, just so I would know what block it was. I killed the llamas for their leads so that I could move the animals easier. I made a shield and fought off some more of the mobs that spawned. It wasn't too hard, especially since I had some wolves and dogs that were now on my island. I made my first piece of iron armor, which was an iron chestplate, so that I could feel more secure about fighting mobs. At one point, a polar bear spawned, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it, so I just hit it off the edge. I tamed some of the wolves so that I could get a bit more protection and that they would actually do what I wanted them to do and not run around the island. My first monster party spawned, which really surprised me, and I wasn't able to get through my door in time, and so I died. I then respawned with the recovery kit and started killing them after I made a shield, and slowly killed one after another. Thankfully, I didn't really lose anything important. I still had my shield and my chest plate. I did lose some of my tools, but I could make those back. As day 4 started to end, I got my first diamond, which was really exciting, and I thought the first diamond tool that I would make was probably going to be a diamond pickaxe, so I was just going to save it until I got 2 more. On day 5, I started making a farm because I figured it would be a good way to get some materials, as well as if my mushroom cows ever died, I would still have a way to get some food. So I planted down some wheat seeds and then was going to melt some ice for the water source. I also planted down some potatoes that I had, as well as a melon seed. Two of my wolves fell off chasing a skeleton. Sadly, Rip Wolf 1 and 2. After getting a chest with some stuff, I got another upgrade, and I wasn't sure what it was going to be. It turned out to be an ocean phase, so I expected lots of sand. I was also getting some prismarine, which was interesting. Because of that, I expected some guardians. I got a turtle, wasn't really sure what I was going to do with that, but I got one. As we get to the end of day 5, you might be wondering why I chose to do this in a section of 5 days instead of like 10 or 100, and that's because of storage space. There wasn't too much space on the computer that I'm using, so I'm going to be doing this in groups of 5. That way I don't run out of space and I can still deliver all of the footage that I want to. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next 5 days video.